Hello, and welcome to Advocacy 101, Part 2, Contacting Your State Lawmaker. So before we begin, let's talk about our goals. So during this module, you are going to learn how to find your lawmaker's contact information and how to call, contact, and email or meet with your state lawmakers and or their staff. So before we get started, please print out or download the PDFs, Contacting Lawmakers 101, True or False, Tips for Calling, Writing a Letter, or Sending an Email, and then finally email and call examples. So now that you've created an elevator speech, you can take the next step to amplify the message by contacting your lawmakers via email or phone or at an in-person meeting, so that your decision makers can have a clear understanding of your ask and your specific demand. So lawmakers and their staff are the most critical audience for any advocacy campaign. And so today we're going to learn about how to contact them. So there are 5 parties in Harrisburg that drive all decisions regarding education policy and funding. So we have the governor, and then we have each of the 4 legislative caucuses, the House Republicans and the House Democrats, and then the Senate Republicans and the Senate Democrats. So these people, these lawmakers and their staff, are the most critical audience for any advocacy campaign. Any successful campaign must include sustained outreach to lawmakers in their districts, and occasionally you might want to go to Harrisburg to visit them in Harrisburg, but in general, lawmakers are very receptive to hearing from their constituents back in their district. So the trips to Harrisburg are often more for like larger events that are more focused on press rather than actual building a relationship with your lawmakers. So lawmakers respond to their constituents, and they are very willing, at the very least, to listen to your concerns. Virtually every lawmaker relies on their staff for routine matters, such as managing their phone calls and their correspondence and scheduling. They also rely on their staff for guidance on key issues. So, education is just one issue out of just a huge slew of issues that lawmakers are hearing from constituents about. So please don't be discouraged if you reach out to a House or a Senate member and a staffer responds. Building a relationship with a staffer is actually incredibly helpful and very, very important, because if you can become a trusted resource for a staffer and you build that relationship and they come to you and ask you questions, then you can, turn that into direct contact with your lawmaker over time. So the first thing you have to do is find your legislator. So it's pretty easy. You can go on your computer and Google "Find My Legislator PA," and then you put in your address. This little screen will pop up. You should be directed to the Pennsylvania General Assembly website. And then when you're on that link, it will pop up like who your state lawmakers are. You should have a senator and a state senator and a state representative. So this can be used to collect the contact information that you're going to put down on your handout on the next page. You should be able to find for sure their phone number for their district office and their Harrisburg office. And then sometimes you can find an email for them. Sometimes you have to email them through a form. And if you have to email them through a form, that's fine also, making sure just that you can figure out how to navigate that. But the most important piece that you find right now is their phone number. So you can use our contact sheet, or you can create one in Word, or if you want to just make sure you have their cell phone numbers, you can put their cell phone numbers directly into your phone. I have my lawmakers' office numbers in my cell phone, so that when I want to make a call to them, I don't have to go back and find a piece of paper and look it up. It's just right there. And you can make a call then at any time that it is convenient for you. So if you are waiting in line to pick your child up for school, or you are sitting in the car, waiting for your kid to get out from an activity, whatever it is, if you have 2 or 3 minutes, if your lawmaker's phone number is in your phone, you can just call them right from there. This is also just a good place, you know, to have a paper copy for the contact information for their beyond their phone numbers. So, you know, we all have to start somewhere when it comes to developing our advocacy skills. And so we have the following little quiz that we would like you to take to kind of think about developing like tricks and tips for calling your lawmakers. So we are not going to go over this on the right now on the video. So you can pause the video and you can do this. You can take the quiz and then you'll see that there is both the question sheet and the answer sheet. So after you are done with your quiz, we can move on to the final part of this. So here are our just little tips for calling and emailing or contacting your state lawmaker. One thing I will say, a snail mail letter that you mail in the mail is one that will absolutely 100% of the time get read, because lawmakers do not receive those very often. So if you really want to get your lawmakers' attention, get their local district office, handwrite their address on your envelope, and mail them a letter. But for letters and emails, be brief and to the point. So you've already developed a elevator speech. You can use that. You can use it verbatim, or you can kind of modify it, but you've already really developed that, so you're ready to go. And just always, whenever you contact your lawmakers, make sure that you include your information, your name, your address, your email, and your phone number, because you both want them to know that you live in their district and that you would like a response. So when you include your information, then they can respond back to you to tell you, kind of like give you feedback about what you're thinking. When you make a phone call to your lawmaker, it is really important to be pleasant to the staff. Staffers take a lot of calls every single day, often from people who are upset about things and from people who just like to complain. So somebody has some kind of problem with anything, and then they call their state lawmakers. So keep that in mind when you're calling the staffer. Keep the tone professional and courteous, and make sure that you make your point about the issue. Try to sound like yourself when you call the office. Share your sincere personal opinion and your reason for it in your own words. So you don't have to have some kind of like scripted, you know, fact-filled speech to make to them. You can make a short call that is personal and get your point across. So you should keep it short. A 2 to 3 minute call is usually plenty to say what you support or what you oppose and why, and make sure that you give your contact information and ask for a response. That's the most important thing. If you just call and at the end of the phone call, you don't give a way for the lawmaker to respond to you, I think your phone call will be have much of a less of an impact. And don't expect to speak to your representative. They are busy during the day. They're at meetings, they are out at events. So it is very likely that you will just have a staffer who will call you, who will speak to you on the phone. And then when you get a response, the response will often come from the email of your state lawmaker. But working with the staff can be a really good way to start making the contact with the office, and it could put you on the issue, put your issue on the radar. And then it also, you know, helps you build that relationship, so that if you can be the trusted resource for a staffer when they hear something about something that's happening in schools, many advocates become like the go-to people for legislative staffers who just want to know what's happening. So it'd be great if you could become that person. And so in your packet, we have a call and an email example that you could use. Just, you know, obviously you don't want to use the same exact ones, but just an example of what it would look like. And I would just say, for the call example, make sure that you would add at the end your contact information and request that your lawmaker give you a response. So thank you very much for being part of this training module about how to contact your lawmaker. If you do anything after this, just pick up the phone, give your lawmakers a call, both of them, your state senator and your state representative, introduce yourself, and just give them, you know, a little overview of why you support, what you support with education funding, and why they should support it too. And thank you very much for participating in this. And we hope to see you at the next module. Bye.